First it's cottonmouths in Florida, and now it's rattlesnakes in Colorado.
Never again.
I got COVID.
I hate RV life, and I want to quit. I'm Tammy, and this is my husband Scott. We are two artists who, when faced with mounting health challenges, decided life's way too short. So we sold our home and most of our stuff to move into a home on wheels. We are now in our second year in an even smaller RV, and along with Gracie and Jasper, we've hit the road full time in search of new landscapes, experiences, and friends. We'd love to have you join us as we navigate our way through this RV lifestyle, and until further notice, our mission is explore, create, and inspire.
Let's go!
We're about to pull out a mom and dad's for the last time this year and heading up to Denver for a couple of weeks and to our daughter's wedding. So, and I'm a little more emotional than usual because I think it's because I know we're going to be gone a year before we come back.
Or thereabouts, till further notice.
Till further notice. I mean, you never know what will happen with us, but that's the plan.
Well, so much for being back in Colorado and not having to worry about snakes. We got a big 4 or 5 foot rattler right over there underneath that truck tire. You know, pretty much everywhere you go, you got to watch out for poisonous snakes. You know, keep your animals safe. Look where you're stepping. They blend in. Don't go reaching underneath things. He's hiding over there underneath the tire, which is in the shade.
We left Florida and we just think there's no snakes anywhere else, but there's lots of rattlesnakes in Colorado.
Pretty much what I just said.
Oh. Do you have anything else
Can't
to
let
say?
your guard down. There are no alligators here. We're safe from alligators.
I'm more worried about snakes than gators any day. How about you? Snakes or alligators? You can see a gator. You can't see a snake all the time. All right, I'll be paranoid for the next 2 weeks walking Gracie around the campsite. First it's cottonmouths in Florida, and now it's rattlesnakes in Colorado. Guess there's rattlesnakes in Florida too. All right, back to work. It's snowing. This is not a laughing matter. Gracie, what are we gonna do? Yesterday it was 90 degrees. Today it's snowing. What happened?
Well, 6 inches of wet stuff.
I got COVID.
Oh man. So here's what happened. We were back in Colorado for about 5 weeks time. We had everything worked out. Gonna go to our daughter's wedding and participate in all of those festivities. Gonna spend time with the grandchildren and the rest of the kids and take care of all of our doctor's appointments. When you're making plans, life's what's happening.
We had it all worked out perfectly, and then life happened.
Bam, we had a train wreck, and the collision was big.
It was the perfect storm. So much so that I declared to anyone that would listen in very colorful terms that I won't say on camera, but basically went like this. I hate RV life and I want to quit. And it wasn't just COVID. It was the series of worries and stresses that all stacked on top of each other. And it went something like this.
Time to go get checked by the rheumatologist. Okay, we'll change the plans.
RV life just took a little turn.
The first surprise came when I went to see my rheumatologist and I found out that I probably don't have what they thought that I had for the last 7 years, and I've got a different autoimmune disease that's going to require a little bit more aggressive action with the medication and a lot of follow-up.
when we reminded them that we were full-time RVing and we were planning on leaving in a couple of weeks, they brought in the big guns.
We were going to be gone for a year.
The head doctor came in the room.
Yeah.
And she did this. And she says, don't plan on leaving for another month at least. We are going to have to cancel some things we have scheduled, and I don't know how, but I'm hoping it'll happen. We need to find a place to stay up around Denver for another week in mid-June at peak season when it's impossible to get a place to stay. So it'll all work out, and the important thing is we've got Scott on the mend, and we're hoping the new meds will help him. And yeah, so that is a fact of life when you are full-time RVing and you are not the healthiest people, but you decided to go for it anyway.
The next doctor visit that didn't go as planned was when Tammy went in to see her orthopedic surgeon. After a series of x-rays and an MRI, they determined that Tammy had a non-union in her bones, hadn't healed properly, and that too was going to require us to have repeated visits to that doctor. Things were getting complicated.
Things were getting complicated. All right, off to one of many doctor's appointments. And then while we were at our daughter's family get-together where we had the first time meeting his parents, I started not to feel well. By the time we got home, I had the chills and a fever, and I did a COVID test because this wasn't normal feeling sick for me, and I tested positive right away, and I went downhill very quickly. Yeah. And the wedding was in 2 days, and I had just met the entire groom's family and exposed them all to COVID.
Yeah. And my daughter really wanted us to be at the wedding, even if we had to sit like back, way in the back.
By the time the wedding rolled around, I was super sick. Scott had to actually take me to urgent care, and they put me on antivirals. I couldn't even sit up without passing out. I was really ill, so I wasn't going to make the wedding. And I never thought I'd miss one of our kids' weddings, so that feeling of just sadness, the feeling of guilt, being sick, and then Scott was starting to show symptoms and coughing a lot.
Walking your daughter down the aisle is something that a father looks forward to for a lot of years. And I think the daughter looks forward to it too. I had been practicing dancing with my daughter for the father-daughter dance. I kept testing myself, testing negative right up until the point of the wedding.
So everyone at the wedding was aware of the exposure, just so you know. We weren't negligent in that. I
got all spiffed up for the wedding and left Tammy in the RV, and I drove down to the venue, and it was great. And I got to watch from a distance. Right after the ceremony, I got up and left, and that brought a few tears to my eyes that I couldn't stick around for the festivities. It hurt me that Tammy couldn't be there. Nonetheless, it was awesome, and it's real life that these things happen, especially today. I get back to the RV, and I went downhill quick. Just within the first 30 minutes after I got back to the RV, I basically was collapsing and took a test, and I'm positive right away.
Yeah, he was spiking a fever, had the chills, and
oxygen dips.
His oxygen was really low, which was very concerning. And it just went downhill progressively for him as well. We got on the phone with his doctors, and they're trying to get him some monoclonal antibodies, which would be the only thing that he could take to help him with his immune system, to no avail. Obviously, it was a surge happening, and we couldn't get him in anywhere to get the antibodies. Now there's two of us extremely ill with our animals at 9,000 feet on a mountain in this RV, and we have a couple of days before we have to move it. Neither one of us can function. Like, we can't even take Gracie outside. someone has our campsite next. We have to move it. And it's snowing again, by the way. It was at that moment when I was like, I can't do this RV thing anymore. Because it's bad enough having all these things happen when you're in the safety of your home. But when you have to move your home while you're sick and you don't know how you're going to do it, when you can't even stand up, that was when my stress went off the radar. Our family was great though. They were all around and ready to help if we needed them to. It was just, you know, not everyone can hook up and tow a fifth wheel for the first time. Our son's fiance is a nurse and she was pretty adamant that we need to get down the hill. A couple days later, Scott was feeling well enough to move again.
Is it legal to drive with COVID? I mean, I'm not dizzy. I feel fine other than just a little bit of a sniffle, so we'll be okay. We really didn't know where we were going to go next at that point, and the state parks were full. Tammy managed to get a reservation at Chatfield State Park for a group campsite for $200 a night for one night to hold us over until our following reservation was in place, and we took it.
So we had to get down from 9,000 feet in elevation because we weren't doing very good with our oxygen and my blood pressure and all kinds of stuff. But too bad we couldn't have had a party and had some of you join us. That's our $200 a night site at Chatfield State Park, but we're just thankful we got down because our oxygen saturation went up. And now we're gonna make one more move and then we're gonna have a week to rest and not move for a while and hopefully continue to get to feeling better. All right, onward and upward before we need a nap.
But you know, when we started this RV journey, we came up with Til Further Notice, meaning that we were going to roll with the punches, we were going to be flexible, and we're just going to kind of go where life leads us. And this summer, all these events kind of took on a, you know, it was a train wreck. There's no doubt about it, it was a train wreck, but we adapted, and hey, we're still doing it. In fact, right now, where are we sitting? Oh yeah. There's the ocean.
Yeah, we're on the coast somewhere, and you'll find out where pretty quick.
Yeah. Laying in the camper, we got COVID. And we're here in the camper next door outside coughing. And we're thinking about having a campground support group for positive folks. And we can sit around the campfire, 6 feet apart, N95. And then we'll have a little raffle for the hard to find monoclonal antibodies.
We've reached stage delirium. I mean, the fact that we're picking up the camera and we have a sense of humor again is gotta be a positive thing at this stage of the game.
We're gonna wash everything and get healthy. It was an 8-load machine, so I did it all at once. That was pretty cool. I'm doing a little bit better every day, feeling a little bit stronger. Still get worn out pretty easy. I end up hawking up things.
I don't think they want to know that.
Hawk!
A lot of fun in the Metzger RV household these days. Maybe, just maybe, we'll head on out of Colorado and go on some more adventures. I mean, that is if fuel isn't $10 a gallon. Interesting times in RV life, that's all I gotta say.